All right, everyone. Donald Trump decided to make a campaign ad sort of talking about Biden's forgetfulness, among other things. It's not a surprise. I mean, it's fair game. People have said, like, Dementia Dawn and shit like that on Salon and HuffPost for a long time now. Some people are saying, well, that's a below-the-belt hit. Well, it came out in the Democratic debates. Buttigieg and Kamala Harris and Klobuchar, they're all questioning. Klobuchar, Harris, and Julian Castro, actually, sorry. But Buttigieg, I don't think. He criticized Biden afterwards, saying that his responses sucked. Three different individuals questioning the cognitive abilities of the Democratic frontrunner. By the way, there have been a couple new polls, and it's hard to tell where the outliers are. A couple of them are saying Biden hasn't really lost steam. A couple of them are saying that he's like 10 points below. I'd like to think he's on the decline and it's somewhere in between the two, but that's probably a logical fallacy or something. Well, it's in the middle, therefore it's true. I think that is a recognized, like the fallacy of the mean or something like that. I'm sure there's a term for it. My old logic professor would crucify me for that one. Got over a 100 in that course, by the way. Very good at Castleton State, logic course. Probably still the same professor. You should take it if you're there. Logic's more math than anything else, which is hilarious since I hate math. But Trump is now putting out this ad, criticizing Biden for his fairly obvious signs of Alzheimer's, and he does. Anyone who's looking at him speak for 5 minutes in an off-the-cuff fashion knows that he's demented. At this point, he cannot follow a train of thought for more than 10 to 15 seconds at a time, so his concentration is down. His verbal acumen is significantly decreased. He meanders off into random land constantly. And when he doesn't do that, sometimes he just mumbles and stumbles over his words. Sometimes he doesn't even appear to understand quite what he's doing or where he is. Like, he loses track of the question entirely. Famously, I think it was like last month at one of the events he was at. Remember when he was done speaking, he's like, oh, what am I doing here? Now, of course, it was kind of semi out of context the way it was presented. He wasn't actually confused about where he was. He was wondering, like, was he supposed to leave the stage? Does someone come on next? Does he get let off or just walk off on his own? That's a common mistake, I'm sure. But it just looked weird. Biden's demented. He has dementia. In the most literal sense, Joe Biden has Alzheimer's. It's no longer something that people should be, rumoring. It's no longer a mystery about why he can't fucking hold his train of thought for 10 seconds. He's an old dude. He's 76. When people get up into their 70s, their 80s or something, and some of you're probably like 70, 80 years old and you're perfectly bright. That's fine. Once you get up to that age, though, cognitive's slowing down at the rate that we've seen with regards to Biden would normally you'd go in for a test. You'd go in to be screened and say, look, maybe they have Alzheimer's, maybe they have some other cognitive disorder that's starting to wear on their mind. Now, Biden's had several aneurysms. They didn't kill him. They weren't, they were operated on successfully. But when you get to the point, as I've pointed out, when you get to the point where your aneurysm doctor has to come out and assure people that you're in good health, when you get to the point where you have to put out a presser saying, don't worry, there's nothing wrong with my brain, that's a warning sign, dude. There's no other way to put it. And if this is just to be chalked up to because he's a little bit older, he just gets confused, get lack of sleep, he's got a hectic schedule or something, how can you possibly believe that it's a good idea to elect a president who is incapable of keeping up with a campaign schedule? I think, and for the Democrats, how can you think that'd be a good candidate to run against someone like Trump? Trump is also an older gentleman, but he'll run rings around Joe Biden on a debate stage. Of your front runners, basically, Buttigieg, I think, would be viable, and Elizabeth Warren arguably is capable of at least campaigning. Biden's not on that list. And Kamala's, neither here nor there at this point. She peaked. She's already fallen back down. Buttigieg arguably did, when he first got in. Sanders arguably has. The only one there that hasn't had a peak and decline other than Biden is Warren. You got the front runner, and then you've got the person waiting in the wings. It's sort of a two-person race right now. Unless something significant changes, somebody else has a real breakthrough performance, solidifies their base. Like someone who's if Cory Booker has a real good performance, soars up to 15 and robs everything from Kamala and Buttigieg, ends up close third or fourth or something, maybe you could have a shakeup. But you'd have to create a whole new paradigm within polling for that to happen. I'm not seeing it occur. In this last debate, it appears, based on the early metrics post-debate, based on the polls that we do have from after the third Democratic debate, it doesn't appear that any significant movement took place, with the exception of the possible gain of a couple points for Elizabeth Warren and the possibility of Kamala Harris sliding a little bit further into irrelevance. Nothing down ballot really changed. Just Buttigieg, his numbers are now the same. He arguably was the best at the debate. Now keep in mind, this is like a heavily Christian, I'm gay but not that gay, and I'm religious. By the way, abortion, not completely on board, Democrat. He can't gain traction either. If Biden were to drop dead today, Buttigieg arguably should get all of his fiscal voters. I guess it's the Christianity that turns them off. It's funny when the Democrat that's not in favor of all aspects of abortion is the one that's technically the most viable. I mean, the party's totally screwed up. Trump gains, the capability of attacking Biden, and he's probably pulling reverse psychology, let's face it. Probably what this amounts to is he's trying to enrage people. Oh my God, why would he say Biden's demented? He's undercutting the other Dems using that line in hopes of actually getting Biden to be the nominee. I'm telling you this, Trump at this point wants Biden to be the nominee. That wasn't the case a year ago. 6 months, a year ago, he was probably like, well, I'd rather face off against one of these weird far leftists because it'd be easier to beat them. With the possibility of economic problems looming, though, having a demented opponent would probably be a good help. A demented opponent half a decade older? Yeah, that'd probably be a good thing. No youth appeal, could drop dead on stage at any point, obvious health issues that plagued Hillary Clinton in 2016, who was, 6 years younger, or 7 years younger. Hillary Clinton had problems. Don't you think Biden would? At least Hillary Clinton never showed any marked cognitive decline. She just had other random health issues like collapsing or whatever. Biden's done that too. He's had several aneurysms operated on. Yeah, Donald Trump's having a field day right now. He's feeling pretty good at the moment, I'd say. That's about all. Peace out.